My mother is over age 80 and not necessarily completely familiar or comfortable with navigating the internet. And so what it means for persons and communities who have less internet access to be able to register for those vaccines that do become available. Perhaps the congregations and the local schools could target the community. Who are the folks who need this help? And if internet access and internet kind of navigational skills are some of the resources that are needed, how do we help provide those? There's been so much suffering during this time, and suffering around economics and people's jobs, the stresses on families with children at home, the stresses on people who have to work in the front line to continue to feed their families. And so I just think we have to help each other. This is a time when a lot of folks in our society are learning things they didn't know about the nature of the kind of stratification and the sufferings, and that the more we can share those realities with each other, hopefully the better we can respond and be more responsive out of a heart of compassion. You know, this is a long haul. This is a crisis that's going to take multiple pieces coming into play together to finally bring us out the other end. And the vaccine is one of those. So it's certainly salvation in many ways for individuals who are able to take it and who can worry less, I think, especially about those healthcare professionals who are concerned that they're going to get sick, they're going to get taken out of the rotation, they're going to hurt their families, they might hurt another patient. You know, that it fixes a lot of that. I think in a societal level, it's just one more piece to help us come out of this. In my experience, God doesn't send billboards or, you know, hot air balloons or, you know, God sends people. And God sends promptings to my own heart about what I can do. There's that old joke about somebody who was stranded on the roof and they prayed to God, and you know, the canoe came by and they said, no, God's going to get me. And the helicopter came by and they said, no, God's going to get me. And you know, finally they die and they go to heaven and they say, God, why didn't you come get me? And God's like, I sent a helicopter and I sent a canoe. I feel like we're in that moment, right? That this is part of the way God does work, is to inspire really good, smart people to help solve this problem. The threat of this thing otherwise is so dramatic. I don't know if folk who don't want to take the vaccine, you know, I don't know what people's motivations are there. There are some who I think underestimate the power of this virus. And so I would encourage them to talk to folks, to talk to authorities whom they respect and trust. This is an opportunity for us to show our commitment to mercy and compassion for our communities, that just as in most places we've been willing to change our worship patterns and wear masks and clean every time somebody touches something, just as we've been willing to do that, sometimes on behalf of people who will benefit and be kept safe, whom we don't even know, 3 rings out, this is the same kind of act. An act where we're willing to do everything in our power to protect the lives of other people. And by now we know the tragedy of losing folks in our communities and in our congregations and in our families. And anything we can do to keep that from happening, it's incumbent upon us to do. And so if this comes your way and you can take it, or if the opportunity to help others who are vulnerable get the vaccine comes your way, if that's the role for the church, we should be all in.